We're here with your, I guess, bi-weekly update for our full-time RVing adventures.
Yep.
Kind of keep ourselves accountable of what all has happened and what we've learned from it, the good, the bad, and the really ugly and stupid. So we're learning and we're here to share it with you. So
Yeah. Before we hop into our most recent updates, for those of you who are just joining, so that you don't have to go back and watch a video, maybe we give you a recap of some of the things. So our first stop was in
Lake Ouachita,
Lake Ouachita,
Arkansas.
I think everything there was great. We really liked it.
That's of course after all our issues. Yes, Lake Ouachita itself was beautiful and peaceful and a really nice place to start. Felt very low-key. It was family summer camp and it was just really nice.
Yeah. But on the way there, packing up for the first time, broke a door off of the hinges in the RV, closing the slides. So learned that lesson on looking for things when you close slides. We severed our electrical connection somewhere between Memphis and our first spot. So no brakes, no lights, no power to our RV.
We don't really know for how long
that
was happening. We didn't get there until dark, so someone behind us was probably cursing us.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have visible brakes and turn signals and all the other stuff. So.
Yep, for sure. We could not park ourselves in our first night trying to park. So luckily somebody helped us. So yeah, that was a thing. And then as we were leaving, we had another slide issue, a different slide, this slide, where we left a drawer open on the side of the bed, and it definitely did a little bit of damage to this slide.
Thought we had checked well enough on the inside before we put out the slides, and obviously had not looked closely enough. So
we have somebody coming hopefully Tuesday to look at this and see if they can help us. Currently we can make the slide work, but are not
with a little bit of physical exertion,
but are not doing it in a way that is meant to be done. So that's sort of a recap from our first video. If you want to go watch that, you can, and hear about all the stupid things we've done so far. But that should be a recap for you. So from there, we went and halfway between there and Lake Conroe, Texas, we stopped and overnighted at a Cracker Barrel. If you want to talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah. It was our first what they call dry camping or boondocking experience in the RV world, meaning we're not connected or hooked up to any sort of electrical source or source of water. So you just use what your battery has in terms of electrical and what is in your freshwater tank to use anything, whether you're washing dishes or taking a shower, brushing your teeth. I think that it was not ideal in that we were all sick with colds and it was 11 o'clock at night and we had two sleepy toddlers. You don't pull out the slides when you are dry camping at like a Cracker Barrel or a Walmart overnight, just basically as a courtesy. You're just there to spend a quick night in the parking lot, maybe patronize their restaurant or store, and then get on the road. But since the slides, we didn't pull out the slides, Greg and I could climb into our bed to sleep, but the kids cannot get in theirs with the slides closed, so they both fitted on the couch, and that was fine. But we learned very quickly that our battery does not have enough power to do lights and all the other electrical stuff, and also supply air conditioning to our RV. So it was hot, we were sick, it was very late. It felt like not a great experience to me, but I think had it been a planned boondocking experience where we were more prepared, and also if it hadn't been our first time, we knew what we were doing, that it might have been more enjoyable. That all being said, we spent the night, we were cool, our windows were open, it felt great, we felt very safe. We got breakfast the next morning and we got on the road, and we didn't have to unhitch off the truck or load everything back in or close the slides. We didn't have to prepare anything, so we were able just to eat and get back on the road after spending the night. So that was cool.
Yeah. So we did that. And then one of the things that happened, we think happened when we were trying to park that first night, is that we bent the frame or the metal part that holds our spare underneath our RV. So that had come loose a little bit and was dangling, and we got flagged down by numerous people.
Half a dozen people.
And so at one point it actually looked like it was going to start dragging soon. So we pulled over and had to take that off and just throw that in the back of the truck. But that was not fun to do, you know, late at night. Was it late at night?
It was raining.
Yeah, raining while we're trying to quickly
Dark.
get to our next destination. But we did get to our next destination. We were at Lake Conroe. It's in Texas. We were there for 8 nights. And
Yeah.
I think we all had a blast. You and the kids had a blast.
We loved it there. It was we're part of an organization called Thousand Trails for RVers, not just full timers, but for any RVers. Where it's a membership basically. This was a Thousand Trails park, so it was beautiful. And from all the other RVers we spoke to, sounds like that particular park is a really, really good one. People love going there. It's huge. The amenities are great. Beautiful pool, beautiful just environment. Stuff for the kids to do on the weekend. It was really nice. Gated, and Lake Conroe itself is just a gorgeous area. Really pretty part of Texas. Everyone we met was so nice. We met so many families. Talked to so many people. Made some friends. Plans maybe to meet up with them later in our full timing adventures. So tons of kids. So it was a beautiful part of Texas. We loved it there. It was the first time that we actually felt like, okay, we're somewhere where we're having fun. I will say our setup was a little rough.
I was going to say, this fun did not come without issues.
It did not, unfortunately.
So we had to get help from somebody to help us get set up. We were having some issues with our levelers. Just stupid stuff on my part.
Well, just new. We're just overcompensating for a spot that was not really level.
Yeah.
And somehow it got off track, and then we couldn't unhitch the truck, and
so
meaning we couldn't go in the RV.
Yeah,
and of course,
so thank you, Keith.
Once again, getting dark.
Yes, dark. Kids are agitated. So we had somebody come over and help us. We basically just started back over, and it was no big deal. But just sort of resetting.
Shout out to Keith.
Yeah, did that. But in doing that, we had more slide issues. Again, with this slide, we made sure that these were closed, but we have some dresser drawers down here, and one of them had popped open and had gone underneath the bed. So when the bed tried to slide out,
right,
the slide kept going, but the bed sort of got ripped off.
I think all this to say, we definitely feel like which the inside is supposed to be my responsibility. Grant does the outside, and I'm supposed to do the inside.
True.
I think it definitely taught me that due diligence is not what I thought it was, and that due diligence is truly just like you get on your hands and knees and you make sure that there's absolutely nothing caught anywhere.
Yeah.
Because it broke a slide, and we have to have it fixed. So, and it's
So-
going to cost money.
It will. So we've put on some baby locks on some drawers and things like that to help prevent that. And then non-RV-ish really issues, but just learning new things about where we live. We had a couple of incidents that were definitely my fault. Well, I guess one was definitely one was
which
mine.
ones you're talking about yet.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot. So
So our first time using, we have a combo washer dryer. It's going as we speak. We used some color catcher sheets.
we use those frequently at home. We use them all the time, and we didn't even think twice about using them in this unit.
Yeah, and it got caught. And I don't know what you call that thing.
The drain,
Yeah.
like basically a drain hose.
Yeah. And so from our very first load, we thought, okay, well, this just isn't very efficient. Things aren't getting dry. We didn't realize that it was because we had clogged it. So it finally got to a point where things got so backed up where we literally had to strategically flood our floors in order to unclog it, which, if, I would turn it, but then it would get all jacked up.
I wasn't home for this,
But
thank God.
there's not much room over there to work with. I didn't have any of the typical pans or things like that you would normally use to sort of catch all the water. So it was a big mess, but not one that we couldn't handle. but just sort of frustrating with all the other issues.
We have a dehumidifier and we have a box fan, and so
Yeah, set those up.
it worked out. And sure enough, Grant opened it up, and the filter. We'll post a picture online on Instagram or Facebook page of what it looked like with like the 3 color sheets trapped in the drain, just stuck in there. I mean, like preventing any water from draining whatsoever.
But since then, no issues. It's been working fine.
No, it's great now.
And then I wish I could say I've only done this once, but I've actually done this twice. The second time being today. I have flooded our kitchen twice by just turning on the sink and letting it fill up with soapy water, and walking away to do something else because it takes so long for our sink to fill up.
We have a really big like one, what do you call it, single basin sink, and it's a really nice big sink, but it takes a long time to fill up, and the water's quiet. Like the faucet is really quiet. You don't hear it and once there's water in the bottom of it, you just don't hear the water running. And Grant is probably just using this as an excuse to get out of doing dishes. He's our dishes person in our house.
So
I guess he wants that to change.
Yeah, I've done this before, but our old house had 2 sinks, so if one overflowed, it just went into the other one, and it was no big deal.
They usually caught it.
But yes, I've now flooded our house twice and had to break out all the towels and box fans and dehumidifiers, and
because of course in an RV it goes down to the floor, which is not on a
it's all wood
slab. It's wood,
Yeah.
and it just looks like plywood. And you hope, and which it still scares you, but when you see it, that it drips through the bottom of the RV, which is scary because it's like, does it just seep through the floor, or is there an opening that it drips through? So
Yeah.
either way, twice now.
Yeah. But yeah. So, but Lake Conroe overall, A+ amenities.
We loved the area.
experience.
It's about an hour outside of Houston. It's beautiful. Everyone was so nice. We've come to love Texans,
Yeah.
and love the area and love the people. Everyone's been really helpful and really nice, and it was a beautiful area. We had great weather
Yeah.
on the lake. The pool was amazing. Like, I felt like at least I do. I feel like the kids and I did. And Grant maybe not so much, but we got some good relaxation time in there, and it felt like we were actually adventuring and not just going through the motions of getting used to this life. So
Yeah. I'd say that definitely until the last, well, maybe just day or two, there's been a project every day. So
I think we're learning, but I feel like we're learning that is just that comes with this.
Yeah.
I don't think we were really. People told us don't get discouraged by the issues. You're going to have issues, and they told us that time and time again. People who had RV'd and people that aren't even necessarily full time, but that just do it frequently. And I don't think you really understand that until you're living in an RV and you are moving your home with a vehicle.
Home and things like your legs wobble free from your sofa and things we never thought we'd be fixing in a new home in the first 2 weeks.
Right. And yeah, it's just part of this life, and I think we're learning that the stuff that is just going to happen, and you can't get bent out of shape every single time.
Yeah. So that was great. We were there again, 8 nights, I think. And then we headed to Port Aransas. And so we left Monday, so
Okay.
3 or 4 days ago. We got a little bit of a late start. And it was already like a 6 or 7 hour drive.
Not much of a late start. It's the earliest that we've actually gotten out of a spot. We had no issues packing up and leaving.
Yeah.
None, which that's the first time. We got out of there really great and got on the road about an hour later than we wanted to, but overall, really good for us. Every other time we've left like hours after we said we were going to.
Yeah.
So that was huge for us.
So we got on the road, thought, hey, maybe we won't have any issues. And then, I don't know, halfway here.
About 3 hours away. It's a 6-hour trip, so about halfway.
Yeah, we pulled over, stopped, I think got dinner or something,
At a
maybe
truck
lunch.
stop, yeah.
And then we got back on the road, and Kristen noticed, hey, it looks like maybe we have a flat.
I had never seen what a flat tire looked like on an RV before, and I was riding the passenger seat, but it just kind of looked like I was seeing more of a tire in the mirror than I was used to. And so I told Grant to pull over on the highway, which is already kind of scary on those
Yeah.
stretches of the highway where it's just like tons of trucks. And they're all driving so fast. And I told him, okay, I'll just hop out and look because it was on my side. And before I knew what hit me, I stepped out, didn't realize what I was stepping out onto, and it was basically like a rocky embankment. And I just, Princess Bride style, tumbled all the way down into the rocky embankment. Got cut up pretty bad. Doesn't look too bad right now. Banged up really bad. Blood everywhere. Grant and the kids didn't even know that I'd fallen because I basically stepped out of the car and went over the side of a cliff. So of course, at the bottom of the embankment, I looked up and noticed that the tire was indeed flat. So when I managed to catch my breath and get back up and knock on the window of the truck, and Grant was terrified, wondering what had happened to me, and I explained that I had fallen and that the tire was flat.
Yeah, you came up to the door and you're like, hands are bleeding, and you're like, it's flat.
Right. It was very disorienting. About that time, as I'm just trying to make it all make sense to him, some guy swoops in with a pickup truck, and he has emergency lights on it, but we can tell he's not a police officer. And basically steps out and says, "Are you okay? We saw you fall." And of course I'm thinking, like, who is we? And I was like, "Oh, you saw me fall like all the way down?" He's like, "Yeah." And so really nice guy. Turns out he was the foreman on a construction job just across on the other side of the highway.
Yeah.
Saw us pull over, saw me get out and fall. I explained to him that I had gotten out to check the tire. He went and looked at it and said, it's definitely flat. It was totally shredded. So it wasn't even just like a little bit flat. It had just started going flat. So it wasn't completely out of air yet, but it was just, there was a hole ripped in it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then said, we have 2 roadside service memberships for our truck and RV. And so we could have called someone to help. He was so kind just to offer to help us do it really quick. He said he had the tools in his truck to do it. And I was like, wow, okay. And said he'd never changed one in an RV before, but figured it would be the same as a truck. And I mean, seriously, y'all, he walked over to his truck, got out tools.
It couldn't have been more than 5 minutes.
There's literally 5 minutes or under. He had used a power jack electric jack to jack up the RV, take the tire off, put on the spare, and was walking back to his truck with power tools as I'm still like doctoring my hand in the car. Oh wow, he's done. And so
it's pretty wicked.
It was awesome. We love Texans. Also, like, crazy guardian angels everywhere. We realized pretty quickly that it wasn't going to be something we could drive on for a far distance, at least not 3 more hours, so highway driving. Yeah. So I got on the phone before we even moved off the highway and found a tire place. The closest one happened to be...
It was like 2.5 miles or something.
Yeah, barely 2 miles away.
Which was crazy because we were in the middle of nowhere.
Right. I called them. They asked if we could make it. They were so sweet, and they just happened to have our RV tire and said, come on right now, we'll get you fixed up. We got there. They helped us back in the RV to where they needed to do the work.
Yeah.
Looked like we ended up just going ahead. They felt like after they looked at Grant asked them to look at all the tires, they seemed like, even though they were in good condition, they were older tires and just needed to go ahead and all be replaced. Yeah. Got us 4 new tires on, gave us a good deal, I feel like, and we were back on the road in under 2 hours. And so it just felt like, some bad stuff we weren't planning on, some injuries. I'm okay, just banged up. But all in all, if you're going to have issues, had 4 new tires, and just really nice people helped us out, and we felt like very blessed that we were in the right place at the right time when something bad happened.
Yeah. So got back on the road, drove a couple more hours. We got here literally, we booked it probably a little faster than we should have in an RV, which is not that fast.
We had 4 new tires, it was fun.
Which is not that fast. And we got here literally like 10 minutes before dark.
Yeah, right before dark, as always. We were going to be way before dark.
Yeah,
of course.
Because I don't know how I do it in the dark, but we got here right before dark. We pulled in, no problem. So I guess this is officially the first time we've parked. And
we've set up with no problem. And of course, poor Grant had to do it yet again in the dark. But everything went fine. We got the slides out okay. I think we like quadruple checked that
Yeah.
everything looked okay
We had
before
to
we did the
manhandle
slide.
this one a little bit.
We had to, push this out a
Um,
little bit, but once we got it back on track with the hydraulic, it went out fine. And it was officially like the first night that I feel like we got everything set up and we could just get ready for bed, put the kids in bed, and just chill.
Yeah.
So no official problems here. It's really nice here. South Padre's great. Or really, we're not South Padre. We thought we were going to be in Padre Island. We are a little bit further on, across another bridge on Mustang Island in the town of city of Port Aransas. It's nice here.
Yeah, we'll be here for almost 3 weeks. They're kicking us out right before Memorial Day.
We asked to stay an additional week just to stretch it by officially to a month stay, and obviously they just didn't have it because of Memorial Day and people coming in for the holiday.
So we'll be here for several more weeks, and you guys have already been to the beach a little bit and are having a great time.
Beach today.
And,
Yep.
we have a wedding Saturday.
We're here specifically to see a good friend get married and pray for no rain on Saturday. That's what we're hoping for their wedding. If it rains, that's okay. Everything's going to be just fine. It'll be beautiful and great. But say a prayer for no rain for their wedding. They're hoping no rain.
And yeah, just gonna be here for the next couple weeks. Again, I think I already said it. We have somebody coming on Tuesday to look at the electrical stuff that we had patched. To look at the slide. That's pretty much
Basically,
it.
we hope it's an uneventful. Hope we get to check out some cool stuff. We know there's a national seashore here. I'm gonna take the kids to go do that. It's a drive in Padre, but we're gonna make the drive maybe about 35-40 minutes away. We're gonna make the drive and go down there and find some cool stuff. We can take a ferry to another little island. It's basically a long stretch of uninhabited seashore, beachfront. So go down there and find some cool shells. I've heard the National Seashore has some big shells. Find some cool stuff and see some cool birds and nature and everything else. And
they do really well on the short trips. When we were in Lake Conroe, we went, I don't know, like 45 minutes to Houston.
Yeah, that was fun. We went to the
Museum District and checked out the Natural Museum.
Museum of Natural Sciences.
Yeah.
In Houston. That was really cool.
Yeah, and they had a blast. And so
dinosaur exhibit, so it was a hit.
Yeah, so short distances they do really well on. We're going to have to work up to the long distances.
Anything longer than about 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours. We're getting pretty antsy, but, they do okay. We've got iPads. We make it, but lots of junk food and lots of Netflix, basically.
So that's where we are, and it's our update.
Yeah, it's kind of balanced out. We've had some bad, we've had some good. Things feel like we're getting more notches on our belt in terms of.
But no regrets.
No regrets. No regrets. Now I won't say I haven't said I have regrets in moments of duress, but overall, no. Still feeling very blessed to be able to do this and have some experiences and take the kids with us. And we go to bed pretty much exhausted every night, either because of issues that we've caused or adventures that we've had. So it's going good, and I'll make some posts to our Instagram page and our Facebook page about what we've done in Texas so far. I think the last update I really made was about Arkansas, and keep everybody posted. So we'll keep everyone updated.
Yeah.
Keep us honest. Bye.